So anyway, a long time ago during the NBA All-Star Weekend in 2015 here, I made a bunch of videos about the Teen Wolves who did well during the All-Star Week. And the reason that it's so significant, Lupercalia is literally a 3-day festival, an ancient festival. It's on February 13th through the 15th. This year is 2015. So you take out the zeros. I think a lot of this started in 2013. 2013 would be 213. 2014 would be 214. And 2015 would be the last year that they're celebrating sacrificing the wolf. It explains why Michigan Wolverines did so poorly recently. And then, Michigan, I couldn't figure it out why the Michigan Wolverines were winning so much. And then now they've lost 2 games. And they even still have a pretty tough schedule coming up. They have Ohio State and whatnot. They might not, they might actually start being sacrificed again, So interesting. Who knows, though? But wanted to point all that out. And in the NBA All-Star Week that was on February 13th through the 15th last year, this guy right here, Zach LaVine, who actually is number 8 for the Timberwolves, and he was 19 years old at the time, so he was a teen wolf. He won the slam dunk contest, and he won it, or I guess he did the Michael Jordan Space Jam dunk. And there's a ton of other stuff. I talked about the UCLA thing. Had Kevin Love was originally for there was all a Valentine's Day theme. Kevin Love, Zach LaVine, kind of like loving, but they both played for UCLA. Russell Westbrook won the NBA All-Star Game MVP. He also played at UCLA. He's number 0 because he was the Monstar. Even Michigan State's player Valentine hit the game winner on Valentine's Day. He was born, I think, 45 days before the end of the year, November 16th. And the guy who won the UFC fight was born on the same day that won on Valentine's Day. Tons of stuff dealing with the number 45, and 45, the 45th day is Valentine's. Also, another Teen Wolf won the NBA Rising Star Challenge, Andrew Wiggins. So Andrew Wiggins won the NBA Rising Star Challenge on 2/13, the first day of Lupercalia. And then the next day on Valentine's Day, 2/14, the second day of Lupercalia, another Teen Wolf wins the slam dunk contest. And then look when Andrew Wiggins was born, the same day as Flip Saunders, 2/23. And remember in the last video I talked about, he announced that he had cancer on the 223rd day of the year even. And he was 19 years old as well. So 19 and 19, I said I've been talking about 91 and 19 a lot. So I guess I just took 2/23 and I went to the day Flip Saunders died. It's a span of 244 days, but that's interesting because literally, check out what the September 1st, well, if I could spell, but September 1st is the 244th day. So he died 244 days after his birthday. 244th day is 9/1. Then I even took the day that he won the Rising Star Challenge, the first day of Lupercalia. And it's a span of 254 days. The 254th day is 9/11, September 11th. And then since Zach LaVine won the slam dunk contest on Valentine's, I just took Valentine's to that. Valentine's to the day Flip Saunders died is a span of 8 months, 11 days. Remember, he announced he had cancer on 8/11 even. And 8/11 to the day that he died is 2 months and 14 days. Kind of like Valentine's, 2/14. Also want to point out, Michael J. Fox turned 54 this year, just like Obama, just like Flip Saunders adds up to 54. It's the mirror of 45. Tons of stuff with that, but Michael J. Fox was also in the movie Teen Wolf, and the reason that it connects to Lincoln, Nebraska is because in the movie Teen Wolf, there's a bunch of parts where they have Lincoln, Nebraska Cornhusker stuff in the background. They have, like in the coach's office in the very beginning, they have a little Nebraska Cornhusker like sticker or something. And then at this guy's house, even, they have a calendar of Lincoln, the Cornhuskers or whatever, Lincoln, Nebraska University. But the movie's not set in Lincoln, Nebraska. Has nothing to do with Lincoln, Nebraska. There's palm trees in the movie. There is no palm trees in Lincoln, Nebraska. And I've looked it up, and maybe it's changed for now, but I looked it up a long time ago. Could not find anything that had any ties to Lincoln, Nebraska to this movie. And so they're showing you the Lincoln, which is the Abraham Lincoln connection. Also, in this movie, once he becomes the wolf and becomes a little popular, he joins the school play, and the school play is about the Civil War. What are the odds of that? What are the odds that the school play is about the Civil War, and then they have Lincoln, Nebraska stuff in the background for absolutely no reason other than to foreshadow stuff like this? Also, think about the whole point of this movie. It's about the high school basketball player. Now, the Teen Wolves or whatever, but the original Teen Wolf or Timberwolf was Kevin Garnett. He came directly out of high school to go play for the Minnesota Timberwolves. And I haven't looked that much into the high school football deaths. There's been a whole bunch of them high school football deaths. It makes me wonder if it's connected to all of this because it's something to do with high school. Kevin Garnett even came back to the Minnesota Timberwolves from Brooklyn last year, or during last year's season. He even talked about how he wanted to buy the Timberwolves at some point. Just find that kind of interesting that Flip Saunders was the president of operations. Who knows? Maybe Kevin Garnett's going to retire or something and take his place. I mean, who knows? But just kind of interesting. He was also 19 years old. So interesting, the Mirror of 91. But he was drafted the 5th pick in 1995. And the reason 1995 is such an interesting year, that is the year that the first full season that Michael Jordan came back and played after his retirement or whatever, where he came back wearing number 45 for 22 games, and then on the 23rd game he wore number 23. They ended up losing in the playoffs. So this was his first season back. It was the first year of the second three-peat. But also, 1995 was the first year that Flip Saunders became the head coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves. And you can't make this up. So he started on the 21st game because this guy got fired after 20 games. So Flip Saunders started on the 21st game of the season. Literally, Kevin Garnett was number 21 even. Also, today, the day Flip Saunders died, to the day of the Space Jam game was played on 11/15, 19 years ago, the Mirror of 91. It's a span of 21 days. So he died 21 days before the 19th anniversary of Space Jam. And even the word 21 in Gematria adds up to 141. All these 41s. But remember, 4/1, April 1st, is also the 91st day of the year. And Flip Saunders, he even replaced this guy then, Bill Blair. Check out Bill Blair in Gematria. 41. Another interesting thing about Bill Blair is that he began his career with the New Jersey Nets, the team that Kevin Garnett came back to the Timberwolves from, or the Brooklyn Nets, but the Nets. Also, then it says he went to Chicago under this guy, and he helped to draft Michael Jordan. Another thing, I took Kevin Garnett's full name and then Flip Saunders' full name, and they both add up to 216 in Gematria. And so, I mean, literally, like Obama was born on the 216th day of the year. He turned 54. Flip Saunders adds up to 54. Michael J. Fox turned 54 this year. 8/4 is the 216th day, Obama's birthday. 54 days before the day that Flip Saunders died. Literally 6 times 6 times 6 is 216. Also, that's the amount of stitches on a baseball. Speaking of the Cubs, but also Michael Jordan. The whole reason for the movie Space Jam was that Michael Jordan quit basketball to go play baseball. Which, another thing I want to put up, Michael Jordan also wore the number 12 for one game. Like I said, 45th day is Valentine's. He came back wearing number 45. But His jersey got stolen on one game, and he had to wear number 12 because supposedly that was the only jersey they could find. It was on Valentine's Day in 1990. So he wore number 12 one time on Valentine's Day. Interesting. I mean, what are the odds of that? Also, Kevin Garnett and Pythagorean Gematria adds up to 56. I talked a lot about the number 56. I think in the last video or last couple of videos, Abraham Lincoln died at the age of 56 in the year 65, Washington, D.C., where he died adds up to 56. There's some other things, but even the word wolf then, he's the first teen wolf in the NBA. Wolf adds up to 56. He even died 5 months, or Flip Saunders died 5 months and 6 days after Kevin Garnett's birthday. Anyway, because of the Teen Wolf stuff, and then Kevin Garnett being the first Teen Wolf, I wondered if he was the first player to ever come out of high school, because I just remembered him as being the first. But I looked it up to see if he was the first, and you're not going to believe this. This is so ridiculous. It says Reggie Harding was the first player drafted out of high school, but the NBA rules at the time prohibited a high school player to play in the league until 1 year after his high school class graduated. Thus, he spent a year playing in minor league basketball. So, he wasn't the first. This guy was Darryl Dawkins, the guy who just died on the 239th day of the year. First guy to... This guy and Darryl Dawkins were the first two, I guess. They were both drafted in the same year, but Darryl Dawkins was the 5th pick, so that made him the first person to be drafted out of high school and then go play in the NBA right after high school. What are the odds of that? And then this guy, Bill Willoughby, well, look, drafted 5th, drafted 19th. Kevin Garnett drafted 5th, 5/19, 5/19. Kevin Garnett was even born on 5/19. And it gets better here. Look at the first ABA player to be drafted. In 1974, the NBA's rival, the ABA, drafted high school star Moses Malone. He was immediately signed by the Utah Stars and became the first player to go directly from high school basketball to a professional league. So literally, Moses Malone was the first person ever drafted from high school to go into a professional league, or to play after high school at a professional league. He just died this year at the age of 60. Him and Darryl Dawkins. Darryl Dawkins was the first in the NBA. Moses Malone, the first of the ABA. Ridiculous. It's rigged. I don't know if these people are really murdered or what, but it's ridiculous. The odds of that are ridiculous. They're even both known for the Philadelphia 76ers and whatnot. I mean, come on. Ridiculous. I've talked a lot about the 85-58 coding that we've seen a ton of times connected to a lot of this. Even Darryl Dawkins died at the age of 58. So then this guy was drafted the same year. He is 58. The Reggie Harding here, his name in Gematria even adds up to 85. This guy even born on 5/4 and was murdered. He got murdered at an intersection in Detroit. Also, this guy then that was drafted the same year as Darryl Dawkins says he ended his career with the New Jersey Nets, the team that Kevin Garnett was traded back to Minnesota from. That just sticks out to me because he's also the 19th pick in round 2, so like 2/19. And Kevin Garnett got traded back to the Timberwolves on February 19th, 2/19. Just wanted to point it out here, February 19th, he went back. Interesting, he played 19 minutes in his first game back or whatever. Also, last year was his 20th season, so technically when he got traded, it was kind of like his 19 and a half season. But it also says that on July 11th, 2015, he re-signed with the Timberwolves to a 2-year deal. So, who knows, maybe he won't retire to become the president or whatever, what I said earlier. But July 11th, 2015, to the day that Flip Saunders died, is literally a span of 106 days. The number I have talked about over and over and over, dealing with a Philadelphia trade wreck and whatnot. Alright, but I'm running out of time, so I'll see you in part 3.